Hi, I'm Helen from Yorkshire Talks, and today I'm joined by Emma Pentelow, who is Managing Partner for Pentelow Wealth Management. And we're doing a series of very short videos for people to give advice and tips and help and share ideas during this time of lockdown. And I met Emma because you invited Yorkshire Rose to talk at one of your staff time outs. How many years ago was that now, Emma?
Oh, 3 years ago now.
3 years ago.
It was because I have a number of women who said, oh, I don't think I could do a physical challenge, that just really appealed for linking into my admin team, and they loved it. So I always remembered you. So when I saw the video, I thought, oh yeah, I want to do it.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So I'm going to go and hand over to Emma, who's going to give some tips around people who might be doing some financial housekeeping. People will be doing that kind of stuff at the moment. So Emma's going to give some tips and advice around that. So what's your story, Emma?
Right. Well, I am married to somebody who was a social worker. So the joke that is always made about me is that I'm part helpful and part commercial and financial. So this is playing into my hands, is this, because I'm obsessed by giving my clients homework and housekeeping. So now they're locked in and I know that they've got no escape route. I'm actually finding people are enjoying housekeeping, which is not normally the case.
No.
So given that people have tidied the drawers, done the garage, what I'm now suggesting to people would be good tips to think about is requesting your state pension forecast. Certainly there's a number of women who've maybe had time out for having children or work part-time or self-employed, and they're not certain whether they're entitled to a full state pension. Okay. So I've got fact sheets that I can provide to you, Helen, or people can email me, and quite simply I'd recommend everybody, it'll take you less than 5 minutes, but then in terms of looking into your future, you would understand what you're entitled to and be able to question if there's any discrepancies on it, rather than try and challenge the discrepancies later in the day, because you can buy back if you're short of time. You know, if you're not going to get the full complement, you can buy back. So look, I'm receiving from my client bank at the moment an average of 16 state pension forecasts a day. So I know people can achieve it. I never get that in a year of asking normally. Then the next thing is we are running a seminar, a webinar, if anybody wants to attend. There's no cost or anything, in conjunction with a local solicitor on the 19th. That is addressing why people would revisit their will and their lasting powers of attorney. I mean, I have a real bee in your bonnet about lasting powers of attorney and having a document in place that allows people to make decisions if you have lost mental capacity. So there's a document that addresses around your finances, and there's another one that addresses around your health. And the documents cost £82 to complete if you do them personally, not using a solicitor. Yeah. And there is a very good government guide for doing it. So the solicitor's talking about the whys and wherefores, but I'm equally saying to people, you can do it yourself if you wish, using the guide, because the bit I like about them, as opposed to wills, is if you write your will and it's wrong, then everybody's cursing you at your wake. But if you write your lasting power of attorney and it's wrong, it gets rejected by the courts and you get asked to pay half and you do it again. So you can afford to have a go if you're offended by cough. And the biggest number of mistakes that are made in this document are people start them early in the evening, watch the telly or drink some wine, I would suggest. So at the beginning of the document, they have a middle name, and by the end, they no longer have the same middle name. Or they lived in West Yorkshire at the beginning, but by the end, W Yorks will do. So what I say, 80% of the mistakes are tardiness. So given that we've all a bit more time in our hands, fill it in, go to bed, sleep on it, reread it, proofread it, and then send it off.
That's really good advice.
Pension forecast, lasting powers of attorney, is your will accurate?
Yeah.
If you are a parent of young children, have you got guardians for your children? I get really upset about that, but that's been a bedtime story reader in a children's home. You know, that would, you know, will stay with me for the rest of my life, and I did it for 8 years. So have you got guardians for your children? And when people say, well, we really don't know who we want, so that's why we haven't sorted it out. Well, that's why you need to sort it out, because there must be a question in your mind's eye of who you want. Because if it was obvious, it'd be obvious who to write down. So you just need to work through that. Have a challenging evening. We have loads at our house. It changes you falling out about homeschooling. You know, it changes in our house. Can you do algebra? No, I can't. I keep saying to my daughter, clearly, I don't know what A's relationship to Y is relationship to N is.
Well, I'm switching off now.
And then I can get back to it by saying I'm helping somebody with housekeeping.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, I would encourage people to write down where they hold cash, because very often people have multiple bank accounts, but when asked where they're drawing their cash from, they are using cash often from the most easy to use bank account, as opposed to the one with the lowest interest rate. Even very wealthy and very intelligent clients, I often have to remind them, have you got a table where it says institution, interest rate, and notice period? And are you using in a constructive order? So I'd encourage people to do that. Yeah. And with interest rates being exceedingly low, national savings dropping for the next wave that started just a few days ago, it is hard to get good interest rates, and inflation in all probability will rise. So effectively, we've got a cash management platform, if that interests anybody, called Flagstone, and I recorded a webinar just last week for that, which I can forward anybody to watch to understand how to do cash management. The other thing that we've got coming up on the 19th is a webinar called Thrive, where I'm working with a business consultancy called Elephant and Child, another free webinar. And it's called Thrive because it's now trying to help businesses look at the new normal and try to get owners into a proactive place where most of them have now succeeded or know where they're at with the interruption loan scheme. If not, please get in touch. I can help. I've done private equity, we've done loan applications. I've done bounce back loans for my husband's own business. So pretty familiar with the form filling now, but this session is taking us that bit further and going, the new normal, innovation, what can you do? What measurables can you control? Do you need non-execs? Have you got the right mentor? Because people are so kind at the moment that I've got loads of retired clients who would non-exec or mentor businesses in an industry they were in if that would give somebody a support network.
Can people ask questions on this webinar, or do they?
Yes, it has a chat functionality.
Oh, good. Okay.
So effectively, it got a bit hard when we did the Flagstone one. I've got to be honest, Helen, 30 questions got asked in 1 minute. So the speaker was trying to answer them, and while he was trying to answer them, it got a bit stunted. But what we promised is we emailed everybody back that evening with answers to the questions. So we covered off about 15, and then we followed up with absolutely everyone. And then we're going to do a stock market update as well, and we're looking at that for the 26th of May.
So there's a lot going on in May.
We've been doing for our clients videos on every Tuesday and every Friday, and keeping them calm through volatility. But I just think now we've secured, we've spoken to every client, and I hope people's existing advisors have. I've done a phenomenal amount of cash flow planning using tools so that people can say, they've been asking us, can I still retire at 62, or has this altered that, and am I still able to send my children to private school at 11 but they're 4 now, or will the depth of this crisis alter that? You know, and so cash flow broadcasting has been ever present, and people should be able to ask their advisors for that. You know, absolutely. So what we're now feeling is that we can be kind of broader, if that makes sense. So if there's anybody out there needing help, please just make contact. My email.
Yeah, I was just going to ask for your email now, because you can put your email, you know, sort of your contact details out now, so people can contact you directly if they see.
My email is emma.pentelow, which I'll spell because I micromanage and because phonetically everybody spells it wrong. It's pentelow at sjpp.co.uk. So if you use that as the methodology in, but the gentleman who's helping me manage all the webinars and the content is called Stephen Morris. So if anybody receives a reply from Stephen Morris, that's because he's connected to me and he's helping me siphon everything at this time.
Do you have a website, Emma?
Technically.
Have you got a website that people can?
We have, yes.
And what's your website address?
Pentelow Wealth Management. The good thing about having an unusual name is very easy to find.
Yeah. That's great. Is there anything else that you want to?
No, I think you know, if anybody has anything that's numbers related or the psychology of their mind to numbers, just get in touch. If it's not me, I'm sure I can find somebody in Yorkshire who can help them. You know, everybody on LinkedIn is working together, which is lovely to see. It's very much like my town, the town in which we live is working together. So just encourage people to say what's going around in the head. Don't overthink it. Don't try and write me a PhD thesis. Don't try and think too long and hard about it. Something pops in your head and it's got a numbers basis to it. Send it. I'll solve it. I'm a solver.
Great. You definitely are, Emma.
I am. I love solving.
Well, thanks for all of that, and I'm sure people on LinkedIn and, you know, people who see this will be very interested in all that free advice and the tips and, you know, the offer and your email and everything. So that's brilliant. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome, Helen.
On to this chat.
Okay, you all stay safe.
We will, and you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.